So according to the 2017 NAR member profile, the average age of today's realtor is 53 years old. And in 2015, that number was 57 years old. Also, the age of members over the age of 65 has decreased from 25% to 17% in that short period of time. While statistics can be translated in a lot of different ways, what this is also telling us is that a lot of agents are retiring from the business at a very rapid pace. But do they have a plan? That's what we're going to talk about today with succession planning for agents. My name's Theresa, and I've consulted with a lot of agents and companies over the years in a lot of different real estate business topics. But agent succession planning is one that we've specialized in for really over the last 10 plus years. So we've learned a lot from that. We've learned what works, what doesn't work, and we've also gained some really valuable insights from those experiences, and we're going to share those with you today. So let's go ahead and jump in. So today's goal, what we want to take a look at is one of the reasons why agents don't plan better for the future. What is the challenge of agents leaving the business? We'll also take a look at what's the potential risk to an agent if they absolutely do nothing and simply turn the lights out on their business. Then we'll share some components of a successful agent succession plan with you and some additional tips for success. Now, it's important to understand that when we talk about agent succession planning, we're not just talking about selling a book of business. An agent succession plan is a slow, methodical transition of one agent's business to another agent over a period of time. So that's what we'll look at today. The reality, unfortunately, is that most of us spend more time planning a vacation than we do our retirement. And what we've seen is there's a lot of different reasons that this can happen. First off, some people just feel like they start too late, and so they don't even start at all in preparing for retirement. We found that a lot of people are in denial that they're ever going to leave the real estate business. We've also seen a lot of fear, and that could be fear of the future, fear of uncertainty, fear of losing that income that they've had from the real estate business. We also see that a lot of folks have already lost their motivation and their business is already going downhill. Some of them are actually too busy, which isn't a bad thing, right? And then a lot of folks just don't know how to do it. So they don't really have a formal plan in place. And that's really what an agent succession plan can do. And they don't really know how to put together a plan either. And while retirement folks can be really helpful in that arena, they might not be savvy in helping an agent transition their specific real estate business to continue to provide residual income after they leave. And finally, we see that there's no accountability, which we'll talk about just a little bit more here in a second. So, if you decide to do nothing at all and leave the business of real estate, everybody loses. First off, you definitely lose because you're receiving no future value or residual income from all those years of hard work and building that business. And a lot of folks don't think about it, but the clients really lose. If you just up and leave the business, all of your clients are left out there to go out and try to find somebody else to be their trusted real estate advisor. So it truly is a lose-lose situation if you just leave the business and don't do anything about it. So let's take a look at some of the risks. So we just put up kind of some national averages from the NAR statistics. And so I just wanted to kind of illustrate for you. At a $3 million production level, that can actually mean to an agent over $65,000 of gross income. And if they just leave the business, that goes away. And then you'll see in the upwards of the $10 million area, that can be a huge number, over $200,000. So what are your numbers? Do you know what your numbers are? And how much of your business comes from your valued client base, AKA that circle of influence? Past clients, repeat clients, referrals from past clients. Is it 60%, 70%, 80%, maybe even more? And that's the client base that we're talking about protecting. So one of the things that you should always be thinking of is what is your risk? And you should be trying to plan sooner than later. So an agent succession plan can help you win. It will help you identify what is the potential revenue loss if you just up and leave the business, turn the lights out. It can also help you identify what your financial goals are and help you plan for the future. It can help identify potential successor agents. These are the agents that you would slowly transition your business over to over that period of time. Those could be new agents, relocated agents, established agents, doesn't really matter, but agents that would be either within your company and maybe even outside of your company. And it helps you to structure an agreement, which is really important, and that agreement needs to include the roles, it needs to include timelines and action plans, and it also needs to get very detailed about compensation and how that's going to work. And finally, an agent succession plan holds people accountable to the financial plan. So, some of the things, like we said before, is it's a transition over time. It's not just trying to sell your book of business. We've seen that just trying to sell a book of business can be very, very difficult to do and often very ineffective versus transitioning your business over a period of time. So, a couple of tips for success. First off, we talked about the roles and having an agreement that really specifies what those roles are and what are the responsibilities of each person. The main roles within an agreement are going to be, first off, the principal agent. That's the agent that's going to be leaving the business for whatever reason. Then you've got your successor agent. The successor agent is the agent that will slowly take that business over from the principal agent. And then finally, we have what we call a coach or a referee. And this person is who keeps everything on track. Okay? They hold everybody accountable to the plan. If things start to get off track, they get involved. They start helping things move forward again. It may or may not be the owner or your manager or broker. It could be somebody else within the office altogether. But these folks, we have found, are critically important to a successful agent succession plan. A couple of components that you want to think about with an agent succession plan. First off, the agreement itself needs to be very, very clear, very specific. It needs to be in writing. You want to include any what ifs, what's the accountability if somebody doesn't do what they're supposed to, anything that you could possibly think of that could come up during the transition, you want to have in that agreement. You also want to have a very specific timeline and an action plan within that agreement. And that timeline and action plan really outlines who's going to do what and by when. And when it comes to the money, you want to make sure you're really detailed. Okay? What deals are included? What deals are not included? Certain clients are included. Some clients are not included. Which, speaking of, an organized database of clients is extremely important to a successful plan. Not only should the principal agent who's leaving the business have an organized database, but that successor agent should also have an organized database of clients. You think about it. If you had 200 people in your circle of influence, these valued clients that bring you business over and over again, but they're on sticky notes or even worse, in your head, okay, that's not going to bring a lot of value to a potential successor agent that's looking to slowly transition the business over, right? You also want to think about starting sooner than later. So maybe you don't even have anything in the works. Maybe you have no plans to retire or leave the business. But the sooner you start thinking about this, the better. 3 years is what we have found is ideal. And while we've actually helped agents transition out of the business in less than 3 months, the real success stories come from a transition over time. And the reason for that is because it gives that successor agent an opportunity to build the relationship with the circle of influence and that client base. And if that relationship is strong, the better the chances that those clients will continue to work with that successor agent even after the principal agent leaves the business. That's important because that's income for everybody. You also want to think about having some specific marketing materials and scripting as you go through the transition. This helps keep a consistent message, and it also really can help alleviate the fears that any of your clients may have if you're thinking about getting out of the business. So, you really have a couple of choices to make. You could continue and just go on down the road and do nothing about potentially getting out of the business and getting that residual income, you'll get no future value, and your clients are going to lose their trusted real estate advisor. Or put an agent succession plan in place. You're going to get future value for all that hard work that you've done over the years, that residual income. Your successor agent is going to be able to increase their client base and income, and your client is going to continue to have that valuable resource, that trusted real estate advisor. So, thank you so much for listening today. And if you want more information, again, my name's Theresa Hurt. My email is up on the screen, teresa@exaltpro.com. You can also visit our website at exaltpro.com and make sure to click on the Agent Succession Plan tab, and you can get more information that way as well. So thank you. Have a great day.